Very good.
We have more than we need,
Very
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to call this school district Sturgeon Bay regular board meeting to order for Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. Would you all rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which
nation
under God,
God
in
individual
and justice for all.
Excellent. Ms. Lee, could you do the roll call, please?
You bet.
Thanks.
Commissioner Scholes and Commissioner Spritka are excused. Commissioner Howard
here.
is coming in remote.
Yeah, it's coming. We saw it on the.
We can see him.
Commissioner Cruz,
Here.
Commissioner Stefani,
Here.
Commissioner Jennerjohn,
Here.
Commissioner Chisholm,
Here.
Commissioner Haas,
Here.
Commissioner Meyer.
Here.
Perfect, and we do have do we have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? It is on your desk. You should have a copy of the most recent iteration.
I'll move to adopt the agenda. Okay.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jennerjohn, seconded by Commissioner Haas to approve the agenda, adopt the agenda. Further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Next, we are down to the public comment section. I do not see anyone here other than admin staff and our board members, so I think we're gonna just scoot through that. So now we are to the consent agenda. And the consent agenda, I will read it as follows, and boy, I'm gonna get a little bit of water here. So just a few
We
minutes.
can take 10 minutes if you need it.
I think we'll make it. All right. We're gonna approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 15th, 2024. Approve the May bills that are in your packet. Accept grants and donations, which are as follows. $241 Sturgeon Bay Police Association donated to the DARE field trip. $250 by the parent teacher group donated to the Sunrise Orientation. $19 general donation from Auto Club Group. Lunch program. We have a number of donations here. One here, $244. Sean Wadier donated to the lunch program. $77 also donated by Sean. $250 Mary Hurley for the family's lunch balance, whose oldest child was graduating. $375 into the Angel Fund from a Sawyer school family to help support families struggling to pay lunch balances. Also another $300 into the Angel Fund from a Sawyer school family who saved money as a family to donate to a cause important to them, helping others pay lunch balances. Another one here, $300 from Cedar families with a credit, letting their credit roll to other families in need. Rock the Dock donations, we got $1,000 anonymous at that event, $20 anonymous donation for the greenhouse, and $14,251 from Colin and Kristen Gincourt towards the elementary playground. Just gonna pause and thank everyone for those donations. That's outstanding, and well, we are very thankful for that. Point 4, approved resignations and retirements. We have Erin Peterson is resigning from her head coach position for the boys DCU swim. That's coaching girls. John Rosenthal is resigning from the coaching track. Troy Hasenjager is resigning as the head coach for track. Jackie Herlash is resigning from coaching varsity girls softball. Brenda Abrahamson is retiring from her associate position at Sawyer. Raylan Dulski is retiring from her associate position at Sawyer. Kristen Amos is retiring from her associate position at Sawyer. Porter Gigstead is resigning from his teaching position in special education. Scott Durkins is resigning from his associate position. Yordanka Angelova is resigning from her kitchen position. Jennifer Applegate's last day as an associate will be June sixth. Carl Waterstreet is resigning from the head football coaching position, and Amanda Botko is resigning from her fourth grade teaching positions. I do apologize if I said anything name. Point five, approve second readings of the following employee handbook related items. You'll see those there: professional staff handbook, professional staff salary and supplemental guide, and the sports staff employee handbook. Again, all in your packs here. Approved fundraising calendars for 2024-2025. You'll see that is notated below. Point seven, approve Sturgeon Bay High School student parent handbook. Point eight, approve Sturgeon Bay High School faculty and staff handbook. Point nine, approve TJ Walker Middle School student parent handbook. Point 10, approve TJ Walker School faculty and staff handbook. Point 11, approve Sunrise Elementary student parent handbook. Point 12, approve Sunrise Elementary faculty and staff handbook. Point 13, approve Sawyer Elementary student parent handbook. Point 14, approve Sawyer Elementary faculty and staff handbook. Point 15, approve special education policies and procedures. Point 16, approve the at-risk plan. Point 17, approve early graduation requests. We did see that last month. We had something in your packs on that. That's just officially here this month. Point 18, approve Wisconsin Association of School Boards, the WASB membership renewal. Point 19, approve overnight athletic trips for 2024-2025. And point 20, board policy second readings. Remember, we did readings last month. So yes, there was a little bit of notes in your packet, and anybody following at home, you can certainly find that online. Our total packet, I think it was a record tonight. I saw it was like 874 pages was one attachment only, and then there was other 150 here and 175 there, and yeah, it was a big month. But that's all these handbooks, which of course are all on the school website if anybody's tracking this at home. So that's the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, if so willing?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Haas, seconded by Commissioner Chisholm to approve the consent agenda. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, now we are down to the operations agenda, which we have approved business education teacher. Let Mr. Big Guy here take it. Here.
Sounds good. Thank you. Probably Principal Derby is quite happy at this moment.
Yes.
Vote here, as is the young lady who's about to be approved. So Principal Derby recommends Haley Lemke as a new business education teacher. Ms. Lemke is completing her 6th year of teaching. She has served as a history teacher previously before she became a tech teacher for a couple of years at St. John Bosco, and spent the past 6 months teaching middle school social studies at Washington Middle School down in Green Bay. She's a graduate of Sturgeon Bay High School and is looking forward to continuing teaching at her alma mater. Ms. Lemke graduated from St. Norbert College with a Bachelor of Arts in Broadfield Social Studies. She has a degree in social studies. Ms. Lemke also taught economics technology and has a passion for teaching all students. Dr. Jane Gusters, who worked with Haley, had this to say: she has a true love for learning. She wants to do well and achieve success and is willing to work hard to make sure that all students learn. She enjoys interacting with students and would often double or triple check with students to make sure they had a complete understanding of the materials. She often would communicate with missing students, via the school Google Doc system to provide thorough commentary on their assessments so they can understand their strengths and weaknesses on those assessments. She would also show interest in and connect with students on their level with informal conversations, but always maintained a level of professionalism and quote. During the interview process, it was clear that Haley has enthusiasm and passion for teaching and is eager to become part of our Sturgeon Bay schools. In addition, Principal Nerby's heard from numerous current staff members who had nothing but highest praise for Haley and her accomplishments. So a motion to approve Haley Lemke as the business education teacher at Sturgeon Bay High School beginning with the 2024-2025 school year is recommended.
I move to approve Kaylee Lemke as the business education teacher at Sturgeon Bay High School, beginning with the 2024-2025 school year.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Bruce, seconded by Commissioner Jenner-John to approve Haley Lemke as the business education teacher at Sturgeon Bay High School, beginning with the 2024-2025 school year. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent. Motion carried.
And I must be getting old because I remember Haley graduating from this institution during the decade I've been here. So, right, some of you have been around this for a while, can appreciate how that goes. So another former student of ours coming back to work for us, which is super cool.
Yep.
All right, so I keep it going here, President?
Yes,
Fine?
please do.
All right, approve assistant bookkeeper, which is, as the board knows, a part-time position. Business office team is excited to welcome or recommend Patience Wolf as our new part-time business office assistant. Patience is most of the way through earning her accounting degree through NWTC and recently finished up with an internship in the HR department at the Asia building. With an eye for detail, a willingness to learn, and excitement to grow, we expect her to be a great fit with our business office and district office, if you will, team. Motion to approve Patience Wolf as our new part-time business office assistant is recommended.
I move to approve Patience Wolf as our new part-time business office assistant.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Chisholm, second by Commissioner Hawes to approve Patience Wolf as our new part-time business office assistant. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And now we are down to approving food service staff member.
And another former student of ours, as you've all seen in the packet. Drini, it's Molly. Drini is a recent graduate, of course, of Sturgeon Bay, our class of 2024. He may or may not have ridden in the superintendent's boat for the boat parade. He did. He graduated just recently, right, Saturday, June 1st, and reported for work experience on Monday morning, June 3rd, here in food service. Food service director Jenny Spoody would like to employ Drini in a partnership with the Wisconsin Department of Vocational Resources, right? Many of us hear that called DVR. DVR will pay Drini's wage for up to 90 days of employment within a job position. And again, a few of those days have already now been used in early June. Sunshine Resources, Inc. also provides job coaching for Drini. Sturgeon Bay School District would pay his hourly wage. Then DVR actually reimburses the district. Is how that works. In food service, we partnered in this manner with people before. It's a great way to determine if an employee is a fit, as well as, for the employer as well. After 90 days expire, then a permanent consideration of employment is expected. That's how this is sketched out, if you will. So a motion to approve Drini Ismaili as a food service staff member pending a 90-day evaluation period is recommended.
I'll move to approve Drini Ismaili as food service staff member pending a 90-day evaluation period.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jenner-John, second by Commissioner Hawes to approve Drini Ismaili as a food service staff member pending a 90-day evaluation period. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So now we are point 5, approve updated pay rate for support staff member.
Yeah, as a quick note, again, the board knows how this works, but for the public. So Curtis Ashow, we're about to talk about. Curtis has worked for us in the past, and before COVID, and then recently, and then because of how it all works with job coaching and some other information in here, he's ready to receive a higher pay rate. So you and I know that really a returning staff member can only get an increase if the board approves it. This would be outside the standard, cost of living increase and whatnot that the board has acted on already this spring. So that's why upon talking it through in the office and talking with President Stefani, we thought the board would approve this, even though normally, right, the board doesn't have to see this level of detail. All right, so you see the note there, right, that he worked for us before COVID as well as this year. So I'll jump to the main paragraph right away. Curtis has been receiving $7.25 an hour as a wage. He's been a reliable employee who continued taking on additional tasks and has grown in his role within the food service team. He would like to continue his work with the school district during the summer, partnering the departments of maintenance and technology. They're also interested in supporting his desire and having them work within those departments during the summer months when food service, of course, is not in operation. So Curtis can work that same type of schedule. In fact, we had him in the hallway today, so I stopped by John Sullivan. They've invited him to join the summer work crew. He'd begin his employment with the job coach at 100% of the time. And in July, August, depending how quickly he learns his skills, the job coaching would then kind of tail off or decrease. As an aside, within food service, Curtis has a job coach for only the last 30 minutes of his day, which accounts for only 15% of his workday in food service. Now that we in food service are aware of his work habits and abilities, the belief is he should be receiving a higher wage for his work as he has demonstrated. It's recommended Curtis receive that wage increase of $12.50 per approval. So the way we have this worded, because it's possible there could be a benefit piece that could tweak this number slightly. We've got a not to exceed type approach. So I'll read that sentence to finish. Motion to approve Curtis Ashour as wage increase not to exceed $12.50 effective immediately is recommended.
Make a motion to approve Curtis Ashour wage increase not to exceed $12.50 effective immediately.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hollis, second by Commissioner Cruz to approve Curtis Ashour for wage increase not to exceed $12.50 effective immediately. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we're down to approving teacher associates. So we're starting with Caitlin.
Yes, well, first of two of those for tonight, Caitlin Knobloch, as far as a Sawyer School first grade teacher associate position. Principal Katie DeVillers is pleased to welcome Caitlin to the first grade TA position at Sawyer, starting with this next 24-25 school year. Caitlin comes to us with experience in kindergarten and first grade teacher assistant. The teachers she worked with in the past share that she's highly organized, hard worker, and is passionate about learning all that she can about the students that she serves. Caitlin also plans to begin working toward her teaching degree. Sawyer is excited to welcome Caitlin to the district and congratulate her on this new position. Motion to approve Caitlin Knobloch as a Sawyer School first grade teacher associate beginning with the 2024-2025 school year is recommended.
I move to approve Caitlin Knobloch as the Sawyer School first grade teaching associate beginning with the 2024-2025 school year. Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Cruz, second by Commissioner Jernigan to approve Caitlin Knobloch as the Sawyer School first grade teaching associate beginning with the 2024-2025 school year. Any further discussion on this topic? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we're down to the B.
Yeah, second teacher associate position, also at Sawyer School for Linda Schreiner. Principal Katie DeVillers is pleased to recommend Lindsay Schreiner for the 4K teacher associate position at Sawyer Elementary School starting in the 2024-2025 school year. Lindsay has a bachelor's degree in social work and has worked as a treatment therapist and behavior technician. Those who worked alongside her in that role stated she's passionate about her work and supporting students in any way she can. They went on to add that she was detail-oriented and a creative problem solver. Her experience in the position will serve her well as she supports our littlest learners at Sawyer. We kind of wait for Lindsay to join the team at Sawyer, and they want to congratulate her on her position as well. A motion to approve Lindsay Schreiner as a Sawyer School 4K teacher associate beginning with the 2024-2025 school year is recommended.
I'll move to approve Lindsay Schreiner as Sawyer 4K teaching associate, beginning with the 2024-2025.
I'll second that.
All right. We have a motion by Commissioner John, seconded by Commissioner Cruz to approve Lindsay Schneider as the Sawyer School 4K Teaching Associate beginning with the 2024-2025 school year. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There we go. That's good. Now we're down to approving some high school coaches.
Yeah, we've got 3 listed, 2 ready for approval tonight. So a head track and field coach for Morgan Harding, that's letter 7A or 7A labeled on your packet. Principal Derby Athletic Director Michael recommend Morgan Harding as our head track and field coach. She coached as an assistant for the cross-country team the last 4 seasons. Ms. Harding is also our new head cross-country coach, previously approved, beginning with the 2024-25 school year. She's currently a physical therapist at the Door County Medical Center. A motion to approve Morgan Harding as the head track and field coach beginning with the 2024-2025 season is recommended.
I move to approve Morgan Harding as the head track and field coach beginning with the 2024-2025 season.
The second was that Commissioner Chisholm? Okay, thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Haas, second by Commissioner Chisholm to approve Morgan Harding as the head track and field coach beginning with the 2024-2025 school season, excuse me. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, good. Down to the head football coach.
Yeah, so you've seen previously that Carl Water Street is stepping down after serving in that capacity. Interim head football coach Jonathan Dupuis. Principal Nerby recommends John Dupuis, who also happens to be our new athletic director. John has served 11 years as an assistant or head football coach, a lot of experience there. In addition, he served as a coach for wrestling, for track, and for baseball. John brings with him an immense set of skills as a coach and a leader. He's been in contact with the entire football coaching staff, Sturgeon High School, to let them know how he would successfully balance, I said football staff. He's coming into football, but he's been in touch with all the coaches so that they know how he'll successfully balance both the AD position and coaching football, right? Making sure all, especially the fall sports, also get support. A motion to approve Jonathan Dupuis as our interim head football coach is recommended.
I want to approve Jonathan, please, as our interim head.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner John, second by Commissioner Haas to approve Jonathan Dupuis as our interim head football coach. Further discussion?
I have a question. Why is the word interim used?
Good question. Principal Irby, you want to come on down? We don't, no, it's a great question. We don't normally have that.
Yeah.
Keith, probably you can give the quick stick.
Yeah, that's a great question. When we discussed, primarily being he's our athletic director. And so we wanted to make it clear that given the time frame of when we were doing our search, he's stepping in to do that, but we wanted the public to know and him to know this. We'll do a full search, for the next year. Might be him, might not, whatever that looks like. But given that time frame of when the position became open, we wanted to let people know that we'll do a thorough full search for somebody after this year as well.
Thank you.
Good question.
Thanks. So, any further discussion? Good point, good question. Further, anything? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right,
We can skip the next one, but I suppose it's a chance to put in a little plug that the staff is still looking for another assistant coach. So, hey, if you know anyone who might be interested in serving as an assistant football coach, right? Connect them with Keith. John, who will be spending more time in the community, has seen his wife moving to town, I believe. Well, they've moved some stuff, but I think he's going to be here really officially early next week. And then obviously business manager holds helps out with football too. So that's where we're at. All right.
all right, so now we are down to approve the preliminary 2024-2025 budget.
Yeah, we have a little bit of description here and then I'll go through this part and then you can turn it over to Jake for additional info. But as the board knows, and I'll read this of the, again, preliminary, because I didn't think of how preliminary following interim, no, I didn't know it, right? But it's a preliminary budget and why is it, right? So the board hears this every year. The public doesn't get a chance to be as familiar. But as the board knows, each October is when the board formally adopts the budget for that current fiscal school year and also sets the tax levy, which in essence, right, is for the next calendar year. However, our board policy 0155 on committees also states the following. The board as a whole shall act as a committee on school finance. Going forward to that point D, during the months of April and May, we do it more than those months, as you know, Jay gives you a variety of updates. Committee shall receive prepared estimates for the budget for the ensuing fiscal year, showing anticipated expenditures and needed revenues for the year. This budget shall be presented to the board for preliminary approval in June and final approval in October. And again, then the policy has some more information we don't need to review tonight. All right, so again, you've seen those updates throughout, which is what the next paragraph summarizes. And then finally, that paragraph, right, business manager Holtz can take us through additional explanation information as we look ahead to the next fiscal year. Again, should be information in your packet, adjustments, and really how the whole state budget piece, right? We know last year we were going into the new state budget. Now we know we're going into year 2. So while there isn't as much drama with that, you're all seeing articles like I am that, oh, it's really getting ready to crank up again. Not just all the political stuff on the national scene, but the state budget. So preliminary budget spreadsheet plus preliminary, easy for me to say, budget narrative will either be in the meeting packet there. So a motion to approve the preliminary budget for 2024-25 is recommended. Maybe we get a motion and then we can.
I move to approve the preliminary budget for the 2024-2025. Or, not well, for 20.
We have a motion by Commissioner Cruz, seconded by Commissioner Generjon to approve the preliminary budget for the 2024-2025 school year. Discussion. Pause. Yep, pause and all we can have.
Anything in particular, Jake, you would like to highlight? And again, for the benefit of the public, you've walked us through learning sessions and so forth. Although we didn't have a June learning session, we have them March, April, May.
Yeah, and nothing major to add. I don't see it changing a whole lot outside of what's been pointed out, people signing up for health insurance dropping, various resignations, not dissimilar from what I talked about in my end of year projections later on. So, yeah.
And maybe that, again, the board knows this, but for anyone else tracking it, as far as how we're looking at next year's budget with getting some of the different things like the teacher post-employment benefit, right? Those shifts away from owing teachers years of health insurance and retirement, right? We're getting through that, and Jake projects we should be able to have those payments caught up. Some other different things we've been working through with the teachers that we believe will also have a chance to get caught up with some of that time stuff this next year. So definitely making progress on some of those special topics.
I do not believe we'll be able to make a post-employment benefit catch-up payments yet this fiscal year, as I pointed out in my year-end projections. So that wouldn't change any numbers that you see with the preliminary budget. Again, I outlined in my reports for later on, but I would anticipate sometime July, August, making a payments about half of what we owe yet. And then later on, October, November, maybe probably that final one. It's kind of where my head's at right now.
So we'll just throwing it out there. We're pretty certain that we'll be done with it within the 2-year time frame we had talked about.
Yes.
That's awesome. Which is early, just to recap, remember, that's earlier than the time frame that we had thought it was gonna take. By 2 years or 1 year?
Well, really 4.
4 years?
So we originally said 7. It's really about 4 calendar years.
Yeah, which, thank you, that's outstanding.
And some of us can appreciate looking around the room. Tina would be one of the examples, right? Going back, even when I was interviewing way back when, right? This post-employment benefit piece was something that was on the radar for the board, the district, and certainly some of our teachers 10 years ago. And so to be able to work through this, have us kind of on the cusp of getting that all clarified, modernized, and catch-up payments done is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's been a thing since I've been on the board, so it's good that this is gonna be taken care of. And everybody, you know, it is fair to all concerned, so that's good. Good, so any other comments on this? We have a motion, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, Yeah, motion carried. And now we're to my favorite topic, the approving of the 2024-2025 board meeting calendar.
Actually, the school calendar. I
The
think,
school
is one
calendar
of
is
your
my
favorite topics.
favorite.
The board calendar is not
Board
quite as
calendar.
exciting. You see the note that as we discussed, we didn't kick it in right away with the 6 o'clock start time, right? But that there was a request, hey, could we start incorporating that? Okay, so I'll just kind of hit briefly on these points. I won't read every one of these things to you. You were here, you've seen this 2 months in a row, right? So getting that going with the 6 o'clock, the earlier start time, except in July, when your superintendent's helping with girls basketball summer league, which our second game is going on right now. We lost in overtime in the first game, but all the kids and adults, or we lost to Gibraltar, and we're playing Southernville right now. So
In the June meeting then, right?
actually, the July as well.
Oh, July as well.
Yep. So July, we're gonna start at 7 o'clock, so I can sneak in here right before, just like I did tonight, because we'll be playing at 5:30 and 6:30, right? So that's July, more than you need to know probably there, but second bullet point, we know we often bump that October meeting back a week because of the general aid certification on October 5th, so we don't have the board packet going out with all those details. So we've got that. Again, I haven't had the November learning session because our regular meeting in October usually gets bumped back. You see the note about January, education convention, right? We often are ready to make that tweak. We don't typically have a learning session in January unless it's a referendum year and the board's preparing to pass a resolution. We don't have to deal with that this next year again. And then again, the June piece, we try to have a question mark there. So other than that, it should be pretty self-explanatory. Again, anytime, we have a question, let me know, but otherwise a motion to approve the board meeting calendar for the 2024-2025 fiscal year as presented is recommended.
I move to approve the board meeting calendar for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. As presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Haas and seconded by Commissioner Chisholm to approve the board meeting calendar for 2024-2025 fiscal year. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we are down to approving the high school science curriculum purchase.
Yeah, so Sturgeon Bay High School Science Department, as well as the Teaching and Learning Department, have been working together to review curriculum over the past several months. Goal of the review team was to develop concrete, quote unquote, look-fors, we call that in curriculum land, and include best practices in secondary science teaching and learning, and focus on the Wisconsin academic standards for science education. Excited to propose adopting the science curriculum from National Geographic for the 2024, beginning of the 2024-25 school year. Proposal includes both the physical materials the department and students will need to fully implement the full range of science courses at the high school level, as well as student access to the online supplemental tools that help support the curriculum. Purchase of the physical materials and a 6-year online access for those 10 secondary science courses in the amount of $72,788 is recommended. The only real noteworthy thing added here in addition from Jen is that we're not ordering the physics materials at this time. They're rolling out the new physics course in the fall. Company proposed that we purchase the current course at a discounted rate this year, then look to update it when the new course is available. So both Principal Nervy and Director Weber agreed that we didn't want to purchase that twice. Based on the numbers for the rest of the courses, really the thinking and probably keep the potential purchase next year under $10,000 to round that up. So final sentence, a motion to approve the purchase of the high school science curriculum as presented in the amount of $72,788 is recommended.
I move we approve the purchase of high school science curriculum as presented in the amount of $72,780.
I will second that. So motion by Commissioner Jenner, seconded by Commissioner Stefani to approve the purchase of a high school science curriculum as presented in the amount of $72,788. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're learning a lot in science. That's good.
I do have one question. So how long typically do you use a curriculum?
Good question. Jen, you want to just pop to the podium? that has varied. I think we're all familiar with situations where some curriculums are around a long time, right? Others get updated more frequently. Jen, how would you address that question?
Can you answer? I'm sorry.
How long do you typically use a curriculum like this one that we're purchasing?
Yeah, great question. As Mr. Chernago said, what we try not to, have a cycle necessarily because, a lot of times people feel like, okay, well, we've had this curriculum for 5 years. Now we're going to get something new. And that's not always the appropriate thing to do. So our current science curriculum, for my time, it's been around for a very long time. It's time. So, I would say that, that 6-year mark is a really, really good one before we launch into a review again. Now, the review process doesn't necessarily mean that we'll adopt something new. It's simply that. Let's talk about what our goals are, what the curriculum is doing for us, what successes we have, and if we then decide we need something to supplement that, or if we feel like that review proves that we're on the right track, then we stick with that. So I don't have a specific answer in number of years, but this one will be around for at least 6 years, more close probably to, few more than that. I would say 10 or so, before we go into another review. Does that help?
Yeah.
I think you said one of the words I would have thought of, right? The whole supplemental materials, right? Back in some of our day, right, it was all, the only thing you got was one textbook.
Mhm.
Right, and then once upon a time they had, what were they, CD-ROMs or something? Put that, yeah, films, yeah.
Film strip.
And so I think what Jen's driving at, whether it's science in this example or any number of other courses, right? Like, it's about more than the textbook, and there's all sorts of different materials. You think of the literacy or even like, high school English class, right? It's just, there's a lot of different pieces of information. I think probably when, people around my age and some of the admin team members, when we started in education, they tried to say every 5, 6, or 7 years, there was a cycle. And then back then, sometimes things were ordered when they weren't necessarily needed. So it's kind of like, all right, let's review it every, X number of years. If something happens or something has changed, that we should have a review more often. We'll do that. And so I think that's kind of how we've seen that change, at least in the last, almost 3 decades now.
Yeah, a couple of really quick notes. The move toward more online, I'll call it supplementary materials again, I think is really a benefit because that can be updated at any point by the company. I'll also note that what we've decided to do with each one of those courses is only order enough physical textbooks for a classroom set. So we understand that most of our students aren't going to be necessarily wanting to carry a physical book around with them anymore. And instead, they each have their own device. They can manage their work and their teachers can manage the assignments online. And I think that will help create longevity within the department. And this is true across the board with our literacy curriculum, now the science curriculum. I know we've talked about some of the things happening in the world language curriculum. And again, a lot of those materials are online, which I think will help us to keep up to date when there are new things. Thanks.
So. Remember, we have a motion and a second. We did not approve this. So
Yes,
I'm sorry.
I went out of order.
That's okay. Well, it's all right.
You can still ask the question.
No, it's a great question. It's a great question. Okay, good. Yeah, next achievement gap, reductions.
Yeah, and this is just very brief, okay? In the meeting packet is the Achievement Gap Reduction or AGR reports completed by Director Weber, working with our principals. The report deals with math and reading, especially for kindergarten through 3rd grade. Some of you may recall an older name for this, SAGE, which was the Student Achievement Guarantee in Education that focused a little bit more specifically on class size as opposed to some other things. So informational, it comes to the board. Now, not just at the end of the year, but there's a mid-year update that was added several years ago. I forget exactly which year. So again, just an informational item. No formal action is necessary by the board, but it's updated for you. So you know that's occurring and Jen and others are working on it.
Next, we have update on review of 4K to 12 human growth and development curriculum informational items.
Yeah. Another informational item, again, I won't read every word to you, but I'll just start the beginning here. Although not required, a regular review of the district's human growth and development curriculum, 4K to 12, is recommended about every 3 years. To that end, a committee of stakeholders was organized and met recently on May 20th. The review included an overview of the grade level standards and objectives, a review of parent notification procedures, right? Since there's some important information in there that parents need to be aware of, and a question and answer session for the group as well. Important takeaways from the session included, right? So you see those 3 bullet points about, having access, for families. All right, that's not something that everyone's in the same place on, right? Curriculum focusing on the whole child, and you see those different components of health and goal setting and so forth. Next page, content taught across those different grade level areas and subject areas. It includes guidance, physical education, health, which is an obvious class pretty much everybody thinks of with the topic, as well as administrative and classroom teaching staff being involved in that, right? So in your packet, there should be a summary of the work group's review. It also includes meeting notes, scope and sequence for the topic 4K-12, who attended the meeting. It was a nice turnout, as I understand it, as well as different resources. So again, no action is needed by the board, but it's an important enough topic that we wanted the board and public tracking this to know that, yes, the review occurred, our review materials there, and you see Jen added a nice note at the end. If you have any questions, you're talking with a friend or a neighbor, a family member that says, oh, what does Sturgeon Bay do on? By all means, Jen says, let me know. Sing the question my way and I can get you an answer or get you connected with, the health teacher or whatever it happens to be. Did we cover all that okay, Jen?
Well done, thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
All right, now we're done. Do you have your water cup?
Yep.
All right, now we are down to the word policy first readings, and this is one where Dan is gonna, I can tag team in.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, go
I
ahead.
didn't have to yell too much during the.
During the games, there you go.
It's a summer league.
Yeah.
All right, you see, right here, version 20164, dealing with meetings. And as some of you may know, we're not a union school district. We're not a common school district, which is pretty common. Pun intended. You're welcome.
Yep.
We are actually a unified school district, which is why we don't have a separate annual meeting like a lot of school districts do in the summer. We have a process where we have that budget hearing as a part of our October meeting, etc. So again, some language associated with unified school districts such as us. All right, moving on. Incapacity of the district administrator, which we certainly don't want to see. I would rather not end up in that category for a variety of reasons. 1260, but you see the updated language as far as if temporary authority were needed. Next, 1421, criminal history record check and employee self-reporting. Again, revision there for greater clarity. 2451, program and curriculum modification. We see a revision there for a designated board to deal with such requests. I think that's pretty much all I need to touch on with that one. Next up, 2521, selection of instructional materials and equipment. Ironically, we did that a little bit earlier with science. You see some definition there, and Jen spoke to some of that material. Again, you don't see a particular number of years there, but there is board policy on the topic. 5350, suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention for death by suicide. Obviously a difficult topic some of us have unfortunately seen in lives and careers. So this is a replacement policy for some significant revisions, again, on these important topics. 5505, new academic honesty. This is a new policy provided to address the topic of academic honesty, but also to deal with the impact of emerging technologies that make engaging in academic dishonesty more accessible, such as, of course, you see the AI or artificial intelligence there. So I think this is a topic where some board policy, no matter what the district or policy is, isn't going to magically cover everything. But of course, Neola is working with its member districts to come up with a general board policy. And then what we're probably going to see based on, I know a session I was at the spring superintendent conference, we'll probably see districts come up with, it's like we have some teachers who are tech mentors, we call them tech leaders. We've got the tech department, and probably some of those staff will work with teacher leaders in each building to have conversations around some of the ethical, like, How are we gonna handle this, right? What do the teachers need to know? What do the parents need to know? What do the kids need to know? Then we'll get into a little bit more of the nuts and bolts of this type of emerging technology or AI. Let's be honest, that's what we're hearing most of the time, right? That won't be something that you or I can just magically, right, govern from kind of our level. So we need policy, which we have. More of those other pieces will lead to more conversations at the building levels over time. At least that's how I think that's gonna play out. And as they talked about at our conference, it made sense to me. All right, I'll keep it moving. 5530, student use or possession of intoxicants, drugs, or paraphernalia. Right, you see those very updated thing, and right, you see the magic ever-changing and expanding scope of drugs and drug derivatives, right? So you see the marijuana, CBD, I mean, all those different pieces, right? As those have just rapidly expanded with different law changes and other things over time. 6236, a new community services fund or Fund 80 policy. This new policy is offered to cover the requirements under which the board may opt to utilize its authority to levy taxes for community programs through Fund 80. Again, our district has watched that closely. Fund 80 was getting a little out of hand in some districts in Wisconsin over time. So again, we use very judicious use, maybe I should say, of that. 6610, non-district supported student activity accounts. Again, the student activity account is a big one I saw in my principal days. So you see another updated, again, a replacement policy because of significant revisions on the recommendation of school district auditors in response to that GASB 84 related to accounts that are under the control of, but not necessary auditor managed by the district to support different student activities. So we've seen updates of this type of thing before. 725001, new memorials for student and staff, right, to assist the district with different requests for commemoration following the death of a student or staff member. As you can imagine, that's a difficult topic for a variety of reasons. 744001, video surveillance and electronic monitoring. Again, we've seen this one get updated before, and I'm sure we will again. We see some clarification on notification concerning monitoring collected by video and, if applicable, audio collection technology. So we're not doing much with audio yet. I'm sure that will come over time with video. And I know Ann and John Sullivan have talked about signage and all those types of things to make sure schools have everything they need there. 744002, smart monitoring equipment. Again, dealing with different smart monitoring technology used to monitor for things as vape smoke and the like. Again, I think we'll probably see, those types of detectors. Those will become more commonplace in schools. They were so ridiculously expensive to start with, but hopefully that starts to change. I know, especially the secondary principals and I have been in contact about this. 754008, new artificial intelligence or AI policy. Again, you see the impact of AI in multiple contexts cross-referenced in the policy. 8146, notification of education options. Again, you see it's basically tweaked to satisfy the class 1 notice, even though a notice of educational options is not something new to us. We've provided that over the years. You see the note or class 1 notice tweak. 8310 public records, Wisconsin records retention schedule for districts was replaced by the Public Records Board in March of 2023. And so you see some information I know you would love me to read, the 2 longest paragraphs you've ever seen in a board packet, but I won't do all that. It'll just deal with statutory references, right? And various things, bless you, to someone about public records. I'll go on to 8420, school safety. Again, that's important whether we update a policy on that or not, but you see some different things as well as a reference to records retention. 8500, food service. Again, this one's gone through some revisions. Ours is a little more unique to us than some other policies, which is school. So Jenny's Foodie and I know Ann and me spend time on this a number of times over the past several years, making sure that is properly updated, not just with what Neola recommends, but what fits us here in Sturgeon Bay. 8531, free and reduced price meals. Again, matching the language with the USDA's required non-discrimination language. 8700, new nursing mothers policy. You see provided urgent maternal, protections for nursing mothers act. You see that language there. Going on to the next sentence. There's a combined policy to cover all the different employee groups to replace the current nursing mother policy, which has been 443005. So you see the shift in sections there. You see other information there, and again, requests, again, whether there's an updated policy or not. Obviously, we work with any of our employees in this situation. 8913, new renumbered section dealing with 50488 prohibition against disability discrimination in employment. Again, that's when we get into what was 1623 or 3123, 4123, and consolidating those policies and some different changes. You see the language there. I'll just keep moving. 9211, district support organizations, right, revised to add the option to include a requirement that any organization described in the policy requires advance permission to use any of the district's identified logos, name, and if applicable, slogans or taglines, right? So, you know, there was the marketing work that the committee worked on for us and making sure we've tightened up the right colors, the right logos and all that. This just deals with those organizations falling under that as well. 3431, we moved this one from the technical into here, dealing with employee leaves. Okay, you see a pertinent legal citation. We've also made sure that some of that language was updated, especially on the professional staff handbook side, as you had seen before. And then under board policy here, rescinded, you see 0164, the tweak there. I'm having all of a sudden a moment, Mrs. Denise, on the
That's what's the
rescinded.
combination. They created one policy that encompassed the regular, the special, and the notice and changing of meetings all into one. That was his first one.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Then we see 1623, 3123, 4123. Again, you saw the reference to that on, I think it was the bottom of the previous page, if I'm keeping that straight. You see there, 312007, employment of casual resource personnel. We touched on 443005, right, with the tweak to the sections, nursing mothers, 5250, program or curriculum modification, and 9210, parent organizations. Anything else you would say on rescinded stuff from all your work on that?
Just some of them are just, they completely rewrote the policy, so it gets a new number. So that's pretty right, moving in the sections.
There we go. Thank you for that, Ann, for all your work there. Now the technical changes here, just again, only needs to be a single reading, but certain things we just want to make sure are part of the record, so there's never a question. So 0122 board powers, you see clarification of school functions within that scope. 0144.5 board member behavior, communications, and code of conduct. Not that that is or would ever be a problem for this board. However, as you see in the news, when COVID time and beyond, there's some dynamics, at least in some communities, unfortunately. 0151.2 required student academic standards, a technical correction about the statutory citation, just to keep things consistent. On 0166 agenda, this technical correction clarified existing provisions and accounts for boards which meet more than once per month. We know we have typically one business meeting. 0171 president, clarification regarding authority in those other common and union high school districts we touched on earlier were unified. We see 3161, 4161, different things around unrequested leaves of absence, dealing specifically in this case with fitness for duty. There was revision to some terminology and then as well as references to companion policies. 3211, 4211, whistleblower protection. Revisions here to clarify employees are entitled, of course, to whistleblower protection if they see something and report something that is not right. 4120, employment of support staff, again, some terminology. 4220, evaluation of support staff, revised to provide clarity and remove kind of a fill in the blank option that was not necessary or necessarily the way we operate here. 4431, employee leaves, there was a legal citation. 5335, care of students with a chronic health condition, again, updated terminology. 5341, emergency medical authorization. We see an option there that deals with kind of your student information system that internally we might refer to as our SIS portal. 5451, student recognition, technical correction, really just updating some language. 5460, graduation requirements, kind of like our food service policy. This is one where ours looks very different from the standard Neola template. Going back to the day, I remember sitting down with Bob Nickel and we reworked what we had and how it fit for Sturgeon Bay High School and our district. So again, you see some reference from guidance to school counselor because that's terminology we use now. 5463 credits from non-public schools. Again, another clarification on language. 5500 student code of classroom conduct. Again, you see a cross-reference policy change there. So the code of conduct is not new to us. It's been around for a number of years, but that's the reference. 55-1701 bullying, again, another policy cross-reference that was added. 6146 post-issuance tax exempt bond compliance. There was some repetitive language that they removed. 6152 student fees, fines, and charges. Again, headings making this policy a little easier to navigate. 7440 facility security. See the reference to allow an individual in charge of an event at a school facility have the discretion to remove a person for safety or decorum reasons. Again, not that we unfortunately haven't had to do that occasionally at athletic events. 8220 school day, school closure, dealing with, again, clarifying some things around school closure provisions, which again, thankfully don't have to happen too often for us. 8450 control of casual contact communicable diseases. So confidentiality language was incorporated. My apologies to the group. 8740 protection of district funds. Some terminology was modified. 9701 advertising and commercial activities. Some non-discrimination verbiage was referenced to reflect currently approved language that is out there. And finally, 9700 relations with non-school affiliated groups. A revision was made to the non-discrimination verbiage here too, to reflect the currently approved language. That would be the end of a combination of first readings and then the technical corrections that only need one.
Nice work, nice work. So now we're down to the reports. Do we have any legislative reports? Or CISA, anyone?
I went to the meeting. Yeah.
How was it?
It was really fast. They did it just in an hour and there was a lot of information presented. And they talked about some of the services that they've offered to, you know, the school districts in our region. And they gave each of us a card, which I can't remember the number on there, which was like the equivalent amount of services that they've provided to us with Sturgeon Bay. So each district got a card. I think they it was maybe like $100,000 or can't remember the number though. But anyways, they supported us. Maybe you know.
I saw an email report. I don't remember what it was, but yeah, I saw something in writing. I think they tried to send kind of the general update to all districts and then a little something specific to each district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do nice things. They really pushed the getting apprenticeship program because I guess other schools, not just ours, in our region are doing the same thing. And so they've seen some success with that. Yeah, it was interesting. There was like, you know, it was similar to a board meeting, like it was kind of formal and we went through, you know, motions and stuff, to re-elect representatives, I think.
They have a board, kind of like school districts have a board, even though, right, CISA obviously operates a little different.
Yeah, that was interesting.
But I think the board can appreciate CISA's kind of have the salesy reputation within the education world, right? They don't have like their local taxpayers or money from the state in the same way to fund them. So they have to provide services and charge for that. So I think CISA's realize that maybe, you know, administrative folks like us, right? We approach CISA's cautiously at times, even though they certainly can be helpful at other times. So I think what I'm seeing from CISA 7 is they really want to try to clarify that, hey, here are the things we want to provide to all these community and districts free of charge. And then, yes, there certainly are services that they have to charge for. So I think they're making a conscious effort to communicate that probably better than in the past.
Mm-hmm. And there were some things that were like, I don't know if we took advantage of them or not, but there was like technology support. Somebody talked about gifted and service, gifted and talented opportunities, which were not that many, but there were like 10 kids down there on a bus, I think, and they played chess. So there's just something, you know, maybe there's a pamphlet, something we're looking at.
Last thing I can think of for now to follow up on Angie's good update there. And so, yeah, sorry, Angie, Allison's good update there. Thank you. Is so some of the districts that are smaller maybe don't have a I'm looking up, seeing Lindsay, like a full-time Lindsay, they don't have a special education director. So CSAs can say, hey, we can help you with special education services and provide those to some smaller districts. Some maybe don't have, the ability to have a technology department as we think of how ours has grown as the kids and staff members need more, right? So they provide different services when districts can't have a department or individual themselves. Thank you for going through that, Alice.
Yeah,
Good update.
Any other committees or seminars? All right, admin reports. So, come on now,
It's
Mr.
coming
Murray.
back to the podium.
Here we go. So, many of you were at the June 1st commencement ceremony, so thank you for participating. It was a really great day. Graduated 112 students. Things went really well. Speeches were great. Kids did a fantastic job. The boat parade, again, this was year 4 of the boat parade. Mr. Chinago can tell you that I have a love-hate relationship with the boat parade, if I'm going to be honest with you.
I can appreciate that.
Every year, it is a ton of work and a lot of coordination that goes into making that happen. But when it happens, it is just one of the most thrilling things to see because it does not happen anywhere else. And so my frustrations leading up to it of, oh, this is it, we're not doing this. And then to see the community come out the way it does, even when it started to rain, it didn't turn out to be the perfect day. But the amount of people who were out and about watching and cheering on our seniors, it just, I said to Mr. Chung, I'm like, forget everything I was saying leading up to this. This is the coolest thing ever. We're doing this forever. It is amazing. So it's just fun. So it's great for the kids. I will tell you, the traditions are changing with it. From my first year here, when I think we had 2 kids who decided to take a little dip in the water and jump off of their boat, to kids coming in with their towels and swimsuits underneath their robes and all that. So we'll talk more about that, but it is a really neat, fun thing. So to have that ceremony and then that right after was just it was a great day. It was just a lot of fun. Thank you again for all of your support and your help with making that day so successful for our students and our families, because I think it's great. A couple other things I just want to talk. You approved our final staffing for the high school. Nothing's going to change the rest of this summer, which is just great. We're not going to have anybody moving, leaving, anything like that. We are set. As you know, things do sometimes pop up, but right now we have our business teacher. We have all of our teachers in place, and it's exciting stuff. We're adding some really great people to the high school staff, and I'm excited for the direction we're heading in with the new hires. I also want to give a quick update on the auditorium committee work. We met again today as a committee. We met with an architectural firm, PRA Architects, here in Wisconsin, and we're starting to get some renderings put together. So it was really nice to see some of the work that we've been doing over the last couple of years now, actually coming into kind of doing a 3D model and walking through what it could look like. And so they're creating some renderings based on that. I'll share that with the board and with the community, but we're using that then to continue to increase our fundraising. One of the things people want to see when they're looking at money is what is it going to look like, or what are things going to do? So a lot of really great work with just kind of redoing the seating, the flooring, the walls, on the stage, sound and lighting. And so some great work with people who are very committed to that. So it was good to see that. So excited about that. And finally, I just want to give an update on summer school. We are on day 3 of summer school, which has been exciting. The high school, we really have 2 primary courses at the high school. Our biggest one being credit recovery, a chance for our students who struggled during the academic school year to make up those credits and stay on track for graduation. So last year, we started that. This year, we have 19 students who are participating, which is fantastic. These are students who failed at least one course. Some struggled and failed more than that. And this gives them opportunity to make up that work and stay on track for graduating when they need to. So we have students who are going into their 10th grade year up to their 12th grade year doing that credit recovery. So that is going very well. And then we have strength and conditioning class going as well. So students who are doing weightlifting, I will tell you as a parent who has 2 of his own kids doing that, I think it's fantastic. And it's a love-hate relationship for the kids too who are doing it. But my 97-pound soon to be sophomore, needs to lift some weight. So he's enjoying getting out there and doing that. So a lot of great things happening there.
On the credit recovery, if you can back up, I assume that's more individualized instruction. So based on last year, do we see that people had a higher incidence of success because it was more individualized?
It is. We actually are using a program called Odysseyware for our credit recovery. And so within that class, we have 2 teachers who are helping in that class with those 19 students. And the students are online doing their work and the teachers are there to help. But the program, it's a self-paced program. So students kind of take a preliminary. What's nice about it is a student who maybe worked really hard but struggled and got, that 55%, 60% to pass. They actually take kind of a pre-test and it starts with, if you've already shown that you know this, you don't have to do that. You take the parts that you struggled and didn't know, and then you work on those pieces. And so for some students who struggled throughout the whole course or that kind of thing, there's more work for them to do than some who didn't. But we're seeing students make up anywhere from a half a credit to 1 to 1.5 credits throughout the summer, which again is saving some of our students from possibly not graduating when they get to that level. Does that answer your question?
That's great.
Yeah.
I just have a quick something too. I just want to say that graduation is always the highlight to me of being on the board. Now I've been around long enough to see kids actually start in 4K all the way through. And it's just so cool to see them on graduation day. It's the best part of being on the board, actually. So thank you. It went very well.
It's the highlight. And now finishing my 3rd year, right? So these seniors were sophomores when I started. Next year's will be the freshmen, so the full course. But it's I always have little conversations with some of them, right? Like, you did it. Because when they were in 10th grade for me here, saying I can't do this, I'm not doing it, they maybe struggled. And to see them persevere and our staff step up and do the things that we need to do to help support our students, I think it's just fantastic. And so I agree, it is a highlight.
Plus, we got to see Commissioner Schultz dance a little.
Whatever that. Great. There we go. Thank you. Principal Smollen's coming down. I think we had the largest group yet for the boat parade down at the park there. Kind of in front of, I'm just gonna say the old frozen school, I'm starting to call, talk like a Sturgeon Bay. What something used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, we came around by Center Point with our crew. And saw that, I was like, holy smokes, that's even more people than there have been the last couple of years. So that was pretty awesome. And yeah, the rain hadn't kicked in yet. We were about the last third of that type of backside that we got. We did melt, they all survived. Principal Smallin, welcome.
Okay. The packet I sent you, I gave you a couple of things I just want you to briefly touch on because you had a chance to look it over. I gave you the results of our STAR math scores, our reading scores for the year, so you kind of see what we had in January, where we ended the year, how our growth percentile. I was happy to see that we did very well in all 3 categories for reading and math. Math made a big jump from 44% as our state average in January to 52% in May. Why I bring that up is because our board exam, we've been scoring the last couple of years between like 37, 40, 45%. So we want to boost that up. That's a big deal. We put a lot of effort on that to give the 3 math teachers a lot of credit because they worked pretty hard. Also with the outside agents from CESA 6, they did a lot of work on that. And happy to see the staff. I think it was tough because we did it. I asked them the last 6 weeks of school, you're going to try to use the spring math program they're using over at Sawyer. And so that kind of opened some eyes to some kids that really had trouble with some basic foundational math skills, such as some basic 1-digit or 2-digit multiplication. So it kind of, so everyone can see the problem. It's like, we have to really address this as a whole group. So that was one thing I put in there, and I also put a PBS report for you to see that identified like attendance, how we did on the start, how we did on the board exam, and how we did on Clipper crew, our Friday things that we've been working on. And I just want to bring up one thing there is this. attendance, when I tell you like, hey, we're trying to shoot for 95% attendance, you're like, oh, that's not, 5% doesn't seem much, but when you really think about it, 5% comes out to like 1% when you have like 8 periods a day, 210 kids, 179 days. 1% comes out to 3,000, approximately 3,000 classes missed. So you start thinking like 5% is like 15,000 classes. And then you look at 8%, you're talking 24,000 classes missed. And then you tie it into credit recovery, we have to pull these kids up because they've been missing a lot. This year, we have certain pockets of kids miss lots. So you're trying to get them back and help them out so they can be successful. 8th grade year is crucial, so they can be successful in high school. So it all kind of ties around. So that's just kind of like those 2 reports, check those out. And then also summer school, our daily average attendance rate right now is 72 students a day. We have about 7 classes going, 7 or 8 classes going. So that's pretty good. So a lot of good things happen. So another year in the books. We did it.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
Well done. I think too, as we're transitioning to our other principal, Small, that attendance, I know Mark and I were talking a couple weeks ago. And so we've seen, right, and we've seen some of our neighboring districts, right, go with fewer and fewer days at school, right? And so, well, we're making the day longer. Well, everybody's got more than enough instructional hours, right? But now think about starting with 180 days of school versus 170 or 165. And then think of, okay, how many kids miss X number of days? 10, 15, 20, right? And then you take, if the baseline isn't 180 or so, right? And it's sliding down to 170 or I think we're gonna see more, some places where they're dropping into the 160s. And then you peel off a kid that, let's say it's 165 and the kid misses 15 days and you look and you're like, holy buckets. That's one example. That's 30 days different, much less what fits into every day, regardless if they're in kindergarten or in high school or somewhere in between, right? So I get the trends and we have to be sensitive to time and there's staff retention. And I mean, we're all the different things and families right after COVID look at school differently and attendance differently in some cases. But you start looking at, okay, how do you get better at and basketball, right? You fill in the blank school. Well, you don't get better at it by not doing, not spending the time doing it or practicing. You just don't. So I think that's been something that's fascinating for me to watch in my career is it's like, I think more places are going to go with shorter school years and just think of what that means as attendance has slipped. It's a little alarming, but there you go. That's it.
We're here and having all their kids at home all the time. I'm just, we're like, the end of June and I'm like, okay, 2 months.
You want the boys? Just, if you ever wonder, what are some of the strange things that administrators talk about? Well, there's one of them.
Well,
You gotta be there.
you would think
Right.
it would go the other way, just, sorry, no.
Yeah, no.
But you would think that in the times where we're having attendance issues, not just,
Oh, it's a nationwide issue. Yeah.
you would think that the instruction would go the other direction, not the way it's going.
Interesting. Principal Smallin from Sunrise. Hello, good to see you.
Yes. So summer school, full swing. We're very thankful for all the hard work it took to make it happen. Big shout out to Amanda Wilkie, who's our coordinator. She's did a lot to organize it all. Classes are full. We have 90 students coming and it's been great. We're excited to welcome the 4K students this year. So they're right across from my office, close to the bathroom, and it's a lot of singing and they're just so little. I'm not used to them. But it's great that they're there and just to have that experience. I really love that we're expanding. And also for all the creative classes offered, and then we're coordinating with the YMCA Summer Foods Program. So they come in, they get a little breakfast, or they leave, they get a little lunch, and it's like, that makes me feel good too. So summer also is time to reflect and plan for next year. So a lot of committee work happens. Our building leadership team met, our scheduling committee met. Next week as a group will meet to go over report cards, in addition to our coaches for positive behavior intervention. So it's just a lot of that. Let's reflect, let's work, let's tweak, let's get it better for next year. That's what's happening right now. So, and then we're so grateful to have enough to start the Sunrise Playground. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing me talk about the playground, but we're still
I
not.
was gonna put you on the spot if you did bring it up,
Were
so
you?
please
Okay,
do.
it's so cool that we're not done, of course, Sawyer's still going, and so one of our summer school classes is the lemonade stand. We did that last year, so mark your calendars. It's July 15th and 17th from 9 to 11. Those are the 2 times, but that'll mean a lot if any of you stop by for lemonade or a friendship bracelet, because they expand into all these other little areas. But it's a really cool entrepreneurial spirit that they do, and that they're gonna be fundraising for the Sawyer playgrounds. Those little people that are in our summer school, that to their little brothers and sisters, they need to, we're gonna give back and make sure that we finish the job. So we are very excited to help do that and get started on ours. So.
Get back, so the timeline, maybe just throw that blurb
Sure.
in, and then I'll come back to lemonade stand as you're transitioning and Katie's coming up, but
Yep.
share with the group and public on that.
Early fall, we'll start demoing like the end of the summer, and then begin construction in early fall is the plan. So we're picking colors, it's like the detail stuff at this point. So working with the city has been wonderful to help just do things everybody's just been great. So yeah.
What do you guys have the kids do, like while you're in construction? What will they do for recess?
We are gonna figure that out. And so that is thankfully we have, we're not far from the beautiful Cedar area that is near the baseball fields. We're going to get creative, and because they have to move and they have to run around, but we will not have a playground for a little bit.
Maybe a little kick the can, bring back some vintage games.
We're gonna keep them moving differently. Yeah, that's a good question. That's it.
Thank you, Katie, good update. While we're transitioning there, so as you mentioned, lemonade stand, some of you have seen the email, some of you haven't yet, so the Clipper connection. I'll come back to this in my report, but our newsletter through the Pulse, that'll be out this weekend. And when you see it, I believe page 3, we'll have a little blurb on the lemonade stand. So anyone who's interested will be able to see that throughout the county. And then we have a little playground blurb wrote up with that too. So
Better make extra lemonade.
we might have to, hopefully, and hopefully it'll be hot those days. So people buy a lot. Principal DeViller, it's good to see you.
Hi everyone. In my written report, I talked about our first annual staff retreat, and something I've been wanting to try since I've come here. And we held it. We had almost 25 staff members attend, and by all indications, it was a success. I'm collecting feedback from staff, and it's been very positive. There's nothing like being able to stop and breathe and think. And during the school year, that doesn't always happen as often as we would like. And you can just tell that with the staff, we had a lot of conversations, a lot of thinking about what we want for Sawyer and our families and our students, and some things to build off of when our BLT meets later this summer. So, and it culminated in a putt-putt golf adventure, and there was a tie first between 2 staff members, which was interesting. Travis and Eric both tied because they're both good golfers, and they're going to solve and figure out who wins the prize later on a real golf course. So I'm anxious to see who wins. So that was really cool. I also wanted to talk about facilities because we are going down a class size, or 1 class in 2nd grade this year. And because of that, we're moving rooms. And both technology and I put in my report, thankful to the technology department and the facilities department because they're going to be helping with that with us. There's not just one move. One of our kindergarten rooms is moving closer to the kindergarten, so they'll all be together. Our 4K will actually all be in the new wing at Sawyer this coming year. So we're fitting better in our building, and it's very exciting. Special ed is moving, so they don't have, none of the special ed folks have to share a room, which means they can take kids into their room privately, right, and have one-on-one or small group instruction, as well as push into classrooms, and they're going to be located near the classrooms of the kids they're serving time with. So that's really exciting too. Plus, if you've ever been to Sawyer, we have
a small workroom that none of us could all ever fit in together. And so now we're going to have a bigger workroom that has all the equipment, the printer, the laminating, all those kinds of things, and room to have enough room for staff to gather together in there when we do celebrations and other things. So it's kind of like dominoes. A lot is happening, and I thank the district for supporting by compensating teachers who have to move this year. That's really nice and helpful, and they appreciate it. But there's, besides that, related to facilities, we are also carpeting some of the kindergarten, and the kindergartners lay down on that rug in their original. And so we've been asking, and so some of those rooms are getting carpeting this year, and we're very excited for that. So nothing has started yet. It's very quiet at Sawyer if you go there, but a lot will be happening very soon. So that's what I have.
And
Yeah.
I think it bears repeating, how old is Sawyer already? Because everybody thinks of that as a new school. But it is over 20 years old. I don't know the exact,
90.
but I know it's,
I can't remember. I
I
look at
believe
it.
96, I believe the
95.
referendum was in, there was a 94, 96, right?
yeah. So I guess where I'm going with that is if it's original carpet, I mean, that's a good run. If you make
It is.
20 years, 20 some years for
And the
carpet.
carpeting they're putting in are those pieces that they
Yeah.
can take out, and it's going to be great, but it just feels so good to be able to fit in the building. I don't know how to express that, fit in the building better and have people where they can serve kids the best. So plus the gathering space for staff is really cool.
Which is a good point, sorry, I just went, on the carpet thing, if the custodial staff didn't do the wonderful things they do,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have made it done.
Yeah.
You know, they're like unsung heroes, so
Yeah.
that's great.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Who's up next? Daylight's burning.
She's
All right, just checking.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Director Webb.
Thank you. Yes, I was gone today, which I'll talk about really quickly. So first, I just want to thank all of you for all the support. I mean, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and I say that a lot, but science curriculum review, the human growth and development review, summer school planning, all of those things happen, and more so without a hitch. So I'm really, really grateful, not only for your support, but for all the hard work of the people who are here. The maintenance department, my tech department, for example, you may not know this, Nelson Demise has gone through each and every one of our staff devices and refreshed them and updated them and has them ready to go and back to our staff members already. That's insane. It's amazing. He has to touch every single one of those devices. Likewise, Jen Hansen, she touches every single one of our student devices. Every Chromebook, every charger has to be reorganized, unlabeled, relabeled, cataloged, put back in the carts and sent back to schools. I mean, it's an astounding amount of work, and they just are getting it done, and I'm so appreciative. Spencer Gustafson is doing all the things, right? Not only is he running block and all the other stuff that's happening, but you know, one of the things you approved tonight was a pay increase for our friend Curtis. And this is important for me to mention because you know, Director Spooty from Food Service came to our admin team meeting not that long ago and just said, you know what, I have this guy, he's not a kid, he's a man. And you know, he does such a good job. And one of his goals in life is to have his own apartment with his cat. And if he doesn't have a job for the summer, with us, he's got to find a job somewhere else and we're not going to get him back. And so I mean, we banded together and we found some things to do, and it turned out to be really, really amazing. He comes into our department in the morning and he's the happiest guy. He makes everyone smile. He's the hardest worker ever. He's taking labels off of Chromebooks and drinking his coffee and making us all laugh. I think it's really important for us to have a little bit different perspective here in the cave, we call this, right? In the middle of the school where we can sort of get wrapped around all of the like tedious things that have to happen. And so I'm really grateful for the district as a whole for pulling together for this guy who has just really helped to bring like a different perspective and really some joy to our office. So thank you for supporting him as well. Summer school is well underway and by all reports is also going off without a hitch. I have been gone for the last couple of days to various meetings and things, and I haven't received any emergency emails. So I think that's a double thumbs up. And then just today, I accompanied a group of teachers to CISA for one of our assessment workshops. And this is something that I've been doing each month with various groups of teachers in the secondary level, middle and high school, as we try to work on our assessment practices and continuous improvement. And I have to say, today, Dr. and Mrs. Jandrin, Courtney Gronkowski from the middle school, Megan Erickson from the middle school came with me happily, like actually happily gave up a day of their summer. And we had just a really productive day. And I just think that says a lot about the people that we work with. So I just wanted to say those couple updates.
I think you did. There was happiness at CISA. Well, that's good. That's something. Director Ferry, you're not moving. Sorry, are you yielding your time? All right. Jake?
I'm not gonna take up the 20 minutes she usually does. Yeah, so I emailed out earlier today, end of year projections, that's through the end of May, plus most of the stuff that happens in June. So you see that there, some movement, absolutely. I tried to work through that in my narrative, and print it out as well. Let me know if you have questions. Looks like we'll end up in the blacks, not gonna be able to do the post-employment catch-up payment that I thought I might be able to do. The big thing just being that health insurance that kind of caught us at the end of the year on a number of fronts there. So yeah, let me know if you have questions.
My only question, that health insurance
Yeah.
is, now we're kind of controlled then for another, well, we know the increases, right? Going in for the next like 2 years, right?
So this year and next year,
Yeah.
we have a rate hike of 19% for next year.
Yeah.
That could go down, in I believe my original, that was so long ago, so many things ago. My original one, preliminary budget, hitting on, talking about post-employment health insurance. Having that conversation, this year, seeing if we can take some, transition some people off there, not necessarily losing their benefit. And that's a very important note that I try and make every time. We don't want people to lose any of their benefits. Just can we make it so it's better for everybody? And so if we can do that, we can, maybe get that cap down, I think 18%. And yeah, so we'll do the rate cap of 18% next year, or 19% next year. Again, as I said in April, I get it. I want to know, I would have loved to not have seen 25%. However, we're back at where we were almost 10 years ago, only now. So not fun, but
We had a good run for a while.
we had a good run.
Now we're back to where we started.
Have we saved 10 years?
Exactly.
It helped pay for some of the things that were done.
So, it's good. Good. Hi, anybody?
Thanks, Jake.
No,
Some of that frame, otherwise I'll wrap up here.
go ahead.
Just one item for my first page of my report. Again, thank you message, right? That's in there, but again, right, we couldn't make it through the year without really, so many people, the staff, our students, our families, the community, for navigating a variety of things together. So of course, I have to touch on that verbally. I won't read the whole thing that I had there. On the second page, I'll just highlight one item too, as far as a marketing project, right? Some different things around literacy, from Brilliant Marketing, working with some of our elementary folks to kind of capture that story a little bit more. So folks have been working on that. So that's kind of cool. I just wanted to make you aware of, so stay tuned on that. And really the end of page 2 to the top of page 3, the hospital, we've been in contact to kind of try to work back on what some of we thought those increases would be around school nursing. So I still think there's a possibility whether something pops. Yeah, I know Lindsay's been in touch with Ann Brettel, Brian Stevens and I talked this week again. You know, is it possible the district could employ our own school nurse, especially if someone who's been through the medical center says, boy, I'd love to be on maybe a school year schedule for a few years, kind of like what happened with some OT people. That's possible. But either way, the total cost increase isn't as large. Even if we stay the course as currently is, it wouldn't be as large as what was first projected, based on shifting some hours around there. So just update in there. Again, no board action needed. Under additional items, I will kind of close out with a couple things. I won't read all this. Again, you'll get a copy of, these are the items I added since the board packet. The whole Title IX federal requirements, board policy and handbook language. So really, because of the federal changes, those are supposed to be adopted by school boards by August 1st. Well, you and I know that when we have a new policy come in, technically there's 2 readings, right? So our plan is to get that new policy updated to have a first reading in the July meeting to show that that's in process. All right. And then the second reading, quote unquote, as part of consent would occur during August. So most school boards are in that situation. I've been in contact with legal, Mary Gervais, who we've used on other things and talk that through. And then what we'll do, because handbooks were approved tonight, and with all the Title IX language, there'll be at least some language we probably need to add into our handbooks. As we navigate that the next 2 months, we'll basically say, okay, whatever the appropriate language is, we'll simply add that to handbooks, right? It won't change what all the principals and directors have been working on. We'll just make sure that any Title IX reference, once we know what that is properly embedded. So it'll be simple revision. Okay, so there's more information in here. I don't need to belabor that point. Some of you may have seen in the news that there are a couple of different federal courts with injunctions. So the one that happened this Monday was the Eastern District Court of Kentucky. So Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Virginia, and West Virginia, there's an injunction against the Title IX stuff in process. Last week on the 13th, there was a Louisiana federal court that has a temporary stay as far as it governs. This is kind of a unique blend of states. Idaho, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Montana. And I don't fully understand, right, because those are not exactly close together like some of the others, but that's how that works. So those are injunctions. Wisconsin is currently not a part of any group that's looking for another injunction. But again, if you see something in the news, I wanted you at least to be aware there's stuff with that. I'll finish with these 2 items. One is less exciting than the other. I got a notice that we didn't submit our 5-year self-evaluation summary of the pupil non-discrimination update stuff. We did it last in 2017. So you would say, well, 2017 isn't 5 years ago. A lot of that was paused during COVID. Lindsay and I have checked our records, and it's ironic. While we're both heard of this, and I know the district has to do it every so often, neither Lindsay nor I can find where the DPI actually told us that we were up this year. So I have reached out to DPI again, because of everything happening in MPS. I'm just making you aware that, boy, that is kind of weird. This is nothing like the MPS fiscal disaster, but I'm letting you know that, boy, I got the notice. I've reached out. I've sent 3 communications to DPI to 2 different people, and I'm sure it'll shock you that I haven't heard back anything. However, I did schedule a 30-minute meeting with a woman on the first available day, July 3rd. Why wouldn't we want to do that? So at least we're in process, and I'll make sure we're covered. I have a format that we can follow as we need to, because we'll have to do it again sometime, whether this summer or next year. So whatever, there you go. And then I'll finish with a positive, the Clipper Connection newsletter. So we've had a committee, and again, I forwarded it to you. I know you probably, with many pages of your packet, as Mike said, maybe haven't seen the email yet, but in the Pen Pulse, this is our first edition, going with the Pulse. So that'll go countywide. I'm trying to think, what is it, 24,000 copies or whatever that they print out. So whether it's lemonade stand or really updates, it's kind of laid out. There's high school updates on the first page, middle school on the second, Sunrise on the third, Sawyer on the fourth, with a few other things embedded. Dave Elliott has been great to work with on that. And then we're kind of working through our process. I think it looks pretty sharp. I want to, again, publicly thank all of our staff members that wrote a piece as a contributor or participated with the committee. More to come on that, and exposure to some cool things that staff and students are doing. I'll finish with that.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second? All right, we have motion by Commissioner Jenner John, seconded by Commissioner Hawes to adjourn. All further discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
I'm sure you're all curious. The girls were victorious in the second.